Hello.
Hi.
Alright, so for the game dev stuff, it's just you and I, apparently. No one else has time.
That's what I heard.
Um, so have you got anything done?
Um, well, this last couple of weeks I've been helping somebody move, but I was thinking about this, and I still need to get more familiar with the tool before I can get anything effectively done otherwise. So I can go back to the tutorials, but I like to keep abreast of where you're going.
Alright. Um, I created a tile set. Well, I actually created two tile sets. If I load up one of the other ones. Projects, games. Limbs. Put in here? No. Pirates, assets, ninja game.
Say hi, Matt. Hi, Matt. He's not very talkative tonight.
I am trying to locate a file. Yes. Just load up in photos. That's fine. So I did two of these. I did one of them with 8x8 tiles to match my sprites. Looks blurry when you zoom in.
Uh-oh.
Well, it's just because it's all one pixel by one pixel, and they tried to make things look nice. And then I created another one that's 16 by 16 tiles, but pretty much the same thing. And so I imported, well, first I used this app called Pixel, Pixel something, Pixel Edit. And with that I imported, because I already had a license for it, I imported that image in, and then it sorted out all the tiles that were duplicates. So then I created this tile set right here. I'm not sharing my screen. Probably helps.
Well, could be why I'm not seeing anything.
So
Or maybe I need to be on a computer instead of my
there we go.
tablet.
Alright, should be sharing screen now.
I
Alright, let
see
me
it.
load up these guys real quick again. So this is a 16 by 16. I didn't spend too much time on them, but I like them.
Look pretty cool.
And then the 8 by 8. That's probably the one I'm going to use, since I made my sprites about that size.
Mm-hmm.
And so I imported them into the game engine, and then I created a tile set out of it. And then I created a level, which is what I was editing. Where was it? Oh, new paper tile map. Let's rename that. It's a good name. For the one tile map. So I was editing that with the tiles. One thing this tool doesn't do is make them easy to locate. So I'm going to have to reconstruct the tiles from memory.
Oh.
Well, kind of memory. It's got tools. Let's see, window. Window, two windows. Should be, it's not too bad to do this way. Let's get some more variation tiles. And then if you select a bunch of them all at once, you can do a lot of tiles pretty quick. Let me just copy some of these. Put the start level. So inside of the tile map, you can say what the whether a tile is has a collision box, what kind of collision box. You can do all sorts of different shapes in the collision box. It lets you do everything. So then when I go to the level, it already loads it up. So when I hit play, now I have a background in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would just have to design the level just like you did in the old-fashioned days with tile mapping. I had a different way that I tried out earlier just out of a random idea to see if I can do something easier. And so that was to create like huge, slightly bigger things instead of just using tiles. And then I would just have like big sheets with a background that I can just put whatever. Wherever I wanted. And that worked out semi-well. About the same. You can't really tell the difference between the two. But the tile, I think, is a better way to go. So that's why I switched to that. The tile map can also do other things. If we go back into it. You can add in as many layers as you want, so you can have background and foreground layers on the same tile thing, so that's nice. So that is where I'm at right now. So
looks good.
That's pretty much it. For my list of things to do, that wasn't really on the list of things to do. This is all extra stuff that I shouldn't really be doing because it's contrary to what the plan is.
Mm.
But I like doing some of the graphic stuff. Um, some of the things I did get done is I added in his moving left and right, and jumping. I just
Mm-hmm.
have to fix the animations to the right ones, and I'll have to work slowly on all of these other things. So I got move left and right done, jump up done. Um, Need to do spin jump. Need to do wall grabbing and all these other things. So I have to work on each one of these slowly as time goes on. What should have been done is just create a basic level without any worries about doing any graphics. Just some gray on black tiles would have been fine.
Right. I understand.
And then doing it that way should get used to the engine. So
Right. Well, that's the plan. Then I can get back on. Then I can get back on the schedule.
it's not really a schedule. The point is just to
Well,
keep going.
right, but it is kind of a, do this every couple of weeks kind of thing. Even if I'm behind, it's a schedule kind of thing.
Yeah,
That's all I meant.
just try to get something done.
Yeah, and that's what I want to do. I got other things I'm working on too, but I only seem to have so much energy or ability to stay in one position for very long.
What was I gonna look
Went to church yesterday, then came home and died, basically.
Yeah, it's tough
Till
with
about
lack of
6 o'clock.
energy.
Hmm?
It's tough with lack of energy. It's hard to get your brain to work.
I came home tired, and then because I don't sleep well a lot of times, and it was hurting, tired and hurting both. And when the pain went away from being in my nice bed, I just dozed off for a couple hours.
It's another cool thing that I was working on. I've uploaded it somewhere. Let's go see if I can find it.
My other problem is playing these games, other than the bird game and zombie game or bowling. That's about it. Angry Birds,
Yeah, it's a fun game.
bowling,
You should try it. You should make that game.
the bowling one.
Well, bowling or Angry Birds.
Well, they're the only ones I ever spent any amount of time playing. Maybe I would like to make a bowling game. The one I found that I liked changed. I didn't like it anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oscar.
I don't know why they do that.
Because they think that's what people want.
Well, I think in this case it was, buy more stuff, play these levels and stuff like that.
Oh, so it's like pay to play.
Yeah. In order to play this level, you should have this ball, that kind of stuff. Special bowling balls, different amounts of gritchen and power, and you know that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I made this. This you can see this guy is breathing. He's got breath.
Yeah, I remember you starting this.
And so if you hit him in the arm with something blunt, he gets an injury. The injury starts to slowly heal. And he gets all sorts of different effects, like he'll get a bit of an adrenaline hit. Then if you cut, let's up the power a little bit. Notice the speed gets decreased. So there's a whole bunch
That's
of
cool.
effects that happen on the healing. And then you can add a treatment. So if you stitch the cut on the right leg, it's going to take a while for him to stitch. But when you stitch it, it starts healing the damage. It starts healing damage about 75%. So about 45 seconds in. I think it said you could do 2 healing things at once. What else? Oh, you can add morphine, I guess.
Add morphine.
Add morphine, the pain goes down.
But his cognitive skills go away.
Only a little bit. I didn't do that effect of it yet.
He's ability to move quickly would change too.
So now the damage is going to start healing.
But he would ignore
the bandage or
the injury.
near the end of the stitching.
He would be able to ignore the injury though,
So
depending on the amount of morphine.
now the stitch healed it a little bit, but didn't heal it all the way. But it is still healing. But also reduced the blood a lot.
Right.
And you can add more treatments.
Well, that's pretty cool.
So we can add in some super glue.
That's better than stitches.
Super glue applies a little faster. But if you remove it, it causes more damage. And then you can just add a bandage. Bandage doesn't heal the damage too much, but it stops the bleeding a lot. And also it applies to multiple wounds. So if you had like a bunch of cuts, you could just apply a bandage instead of doing each cut individually with the stitches. So you can stem the bleeding a little bit better until you can get more time to treat it. And it affects his heart rate also. So he's up to 94 now, and he's supposed to be in low activity. If we increase the activity, he needs more breath, so he has to start breathing more. And his heart rate goes up. And with the heart rate, like if you gave him a shot of adrenaline, the heart rate will increase or decrease the amount of time it stays in the system. Because it pumps through faster.
During activities, do you have anything for affect the muscles picking up the lactic acid and stuff, and slowing down and getting sore?
There's an energy level. So if you're doing like heavy activity, your energy is going to start going down. If you go to max, it's going to go down a lot faster. Like if you're running at your top speed. And
if you're running, do you have a second wind feature?
No. But if you get a shot of adrenaline,
That would work
it helps
too.
everything. Well, it doesn't help everything, but it helps a lot of things. Adrenaline also increases your heart rate too, so if you're bleeding, it's not a good idea.
Right.
If you're bleeding and your heart rate is already high, adrenaline will hurt. It will make you bleed more.
Um, if you go above,
So
where's
now energy's going down, so speed and everything's going.
the heart rate hits 300, he's going to die.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible to hit 300 in this.
Okay.
Don't have things like blood pressure yet. So notice the brain is going down also because he's using up all his energy. The problem with the brain, though, is the brain heals slowly because he's out of breath.
Right.
I think he killed himself. He worked too hard.
That'll happen.
Let's see if we can bring him back to life. Give him a shot of adrenaline, see if that helps. Damn it.
That works sometimes.
Can't apply another adrenaline right now. Come on, you can do it. He's gonna go brain dead. Brain's going down. Shouldn't have pushed himself so hard.
The pulmonary rate is only, okay, it's going up.
Let him rest. See if we can get his. Requires less breath so we can start breathing again. So like this is a system where a lot of things affect a lot of other things. So if you
Why
want
is
to
the heart rate going down and the breath rate going up?
the breath rate is still pretty low. It's 16 breaths per minute. Heart rate is
No, but it
1.
was like 8 earlier, and the heart rate was higher.
Because it can happen.
Starve the brain of oxygen.
So the system was designed to have a lot of different things to affect a lot of different things, so that getting injured is more realistic, so that the player has better choices to make, more strategic
It's really cool.
choices, instead of just straight health. But
It's well done, man.
that was the
I like
idea
it.
behind it. I'm gonna have to port it to C++. Right now it's just in JavaScript. So I'll port it to C++, put it in the game, and it should make the game more fun, hopefully.
More
Like
realistic.
if it was a first-person shooter game, I think it would make it a little bit more realistic. I mean, it's still not going to be completely realistic, and it also doesn't take that much resources to do this. Like I'm running it in just JavaScript.
Right.
Report it to like a game engine in C++ or even C#. It would be a lot more. It could be a lot more efficient than running it through a web browser. But it's still really fast in a web browser and takes hardly any resources. And doing things is just as easy as just calling a function to injure a part and then calling a function to treat something.
Uh-huh.
So the inputs are pretty basic. Let's do 12.
That's cool.
Oops, general. Things in general.
When you first started doing this, I wasn't sure where you were going. When did you start this?
Well, I started this a long time ago, but I haven't worked on it in a while because I was working on some other things. Plus, I don't
Seemed
really
like
have a game to put it in. I had a
right.
a different one for. It's on my laptop. I don't have it ported over to here yet. For an AI. But I have to redesign that one. Okay, so injure it and treat it are the two functions that you call into the system after the initial loading.
Mm-hmm.
So using it should be really basic, and then you should just be able to, the way I would do it is you just be able to reference each part individually if you, as you need. And you should be able to get whatever information you want out of it to control your character. So you should just be able to tie everything into your character. Things like speed or whatever, or strength, like if you're doing like a boxing game. Like all these blunts wherever you hit. I'll also do if you get blunt to the head, it affects your consciousness a lot more.
Do you have a way to? Oh, there's strength and different players with different capabilities. You know, like one guy's got more muscles than the other guy, or is in better shape,
The way
or
the way I was thinking that was like player stats would be taken care of outside of the system. So like say if we're going to put numbers to it, like one player has a strength of 8, another player has a strength of 10. The strength of 100 here would be like this is 100%. If it's like 50, then you get 50% strength. So one guy would be effective of strength of 4, and the other guy would be effective strength of 5 at 50% strength. So like player stats and everything would be taken care of outside of the system.
okay.
This would just be for
So
managing.
it's a yes. I just didn't understand that's how it would work.
Yeah, I didn't want to throw stats into this so they could be more universal.
I understand. Um,
And then you can add
I guess the question was
steadiness.
more to see if you thought about it, and you have. So, of course, I have brilliant boys.
There's other things I wanted to take care of. Like I want to throw the AI into the system so that we can have NPCs that can be affected by things that happen to their bodies. They can make different decisions based off of their state. But I haven't even got that system fully designed yet. I've had a lot of failures and redesigns, so I'm still working on it.
The
There's two
AI
different ones I
thing's
want to make.
there's a learning process with that. A big one. It's like changing from procedural to object-oriented programming.
Yeah, there's two of them that I want to make. One of them is just going to be mostly scripted, but the AI handles things
Mm-hmm.
so that when you design the game, you don't have to create like a whole bunch of conversation trees. You can just deal with the AI, and the AI would have like if you wanted to get certain information out, have like things that you unlock by things that you say or something that you show it. So that way the
Right.
interacting with AI is a little bit more natural, and the developer doesn't have to spend a ton of time making conversation trees.
Right. Which
But
would be
it's still scripted, so that the developer can generate the script that they want the player to say. And so if you had like voice acting, you can do all the voice acting you wanted, and you wouldn't have to worry about too much dynamicness. But still designing that to work.
Yeah.
And then I started doing this. So I only have so much time.
Well, he's cool.
What's the?
Not sure I can see that he really acted when he jumped, but
Yeah, the frame rate's not that great with screen capture. Um, right now, he doesn't really have a jump. Anytime he's in moving, he does his running animation. So while he's jumping, he looks like he's trying to run. So I have to fix that by creating a animation state machine. Those aren't too difficult to do, but they're time consuming. So so they're boring, but I'll get it done. And that's
can't
it.
like everything, right?
Yeah. Well, not everything's boring. Doing these graphics wasn't
That's kind of
boring.
what I said. And boring to one is not always boring to another.
I guess that's true. But this process always has something boring for everyone. Alright. I guess that's it for now. I'll be working on completing some of these other things. Let's see. Probably just work down the list, I guess. Do spin jump, then wall grab, wall jump. I think that's already integrated into the stuff. I could change it, but that looks like I'll try and get the jumping, wall grab, and wall jump done.
Okay. I'll see if I can. Doing the bowling thing makes sense to me, since it's a game I played a lot. Plus, if I like what I make, I'll play it.
Yeah. It's good to. The point is, it's good to start with something that already exists. Just try and clone it. That way, you don't try and overwork.
Right.
Because most of the beginning development on video games, especially, is nearly 99% of all people going over scope and then not learning very much. Except that doing video games is hard.
It is?
Yep. It's an important
Is that
lesson,
why?
I guess.
Is that why very few people actually make it?
Well, I mean, there's a ton of video games. Whether they're all good video games or not, that's up to people's tastes. But
Well, I
there
think that's what
are
I meant.
a ton of game developers and a ton of video games now.
Right. But how many are Angry Birds and stuff like that are there, right?
Yeah.
That was well done.
It was well done. And they got lucky too.
Well, timing sometimes plays into part too. They came out at the right time with the game that was kind of easy to use but fun to play because it was somewhat realistic, right?
Yeah. Had physics and
Yeah.
easy goals. Easy to understand goals, not necessarily easy goals.
Remember a game long ago where they sometimes some kind of gravity thing with space. They throw missiles or shoot missiles or something like that, and they'd be affected by if they went past a sun or planet or whatever.
I played a game like that.
Huh?
I played a game like that. I don't remember what it was called though. It's been a while.
I don't remember either. But it was, I think it was multiplayer, and there's several in the company, that played at it. Not as much as Tank, but
Oh, was that Space War?
it could have been. I don't remember. I didn't play it. I watched other people play it.
We have like you play like one player against the computer, or there's two players,
Yes.
and then yeah, like two ships. You can control how much went to your shields or how much went to shooting. Or no, shooting. It was either shields or fuel. You could shoot unlimited. That was a fun game.
We've had a lot of fun with it.
Space War. Let me see if I can find a video. Looks like Jack has left. And so that's it.